Hey, this is Bob from Dogwatch Cigar Radio.
And this is Dale, and you're watching a video review on StogieReview.com.
Excellent.
That one sounded okay.
Good morning, good morning. It's a cold, crisp February morning outside here, outside our nation's capital. Welcome to episode 3 of Your Questions, My Answers. I am, your host for the next 20, 30 minutes or so, or longer. I'm your host, Jerry, and I am joined, as usual, by who I always refer to as the hardest working member of the Stogie Review crew. And he comes from Pottstown, PA, and he's also the best technical smoker I know, Mr. Walt White. Say hello to all the people, Walt, and let them know what you're smoking this morning.
How you doing, everybody? As Jerry mentioned, my name's Walt. I'm smoking the Arturo Fuente Cedar Chateau, Connecticut this morning, and I'm pairing that up with a cup of Earl Grey tea.
Nice. All right, so I know it's only episode 3, Walt, but this might be our best show yet. You know, it would be even better if we would have worked out all the technical problems that we had with Brian, but we couldn't get all 3 of us to work it out, so Brian is the odd man out. But here in episode 3, as you know, with Your Questions, My Answers, we take and attempt to answer some of the questions you guys have sent us in. And as always, we reserve the right to be wrong. And hopefully we aren't. But if we are, someone out there will be sure to correct us. And we have some great questions this week. And so, Walt, why don't you get us started with our first one?
All right, we got question 1 from Greg through the Skype network. And he wants to know the proper way to set up a humidor. And what I mean by that is seasoning-wise. He says he's read quite a bit of literature, and everything he reads contradicts, something else. You've got one way telling you to put a shot glass full of distilled water in a humidor, let it naturally evaporate and season the Spanish cedar. You've also got the method of wiping it down with distilled water. And you've also got, the last way, which is to boil the distilled water and place that inside the humidor, letting the steam, evaporate and quickly raise the humidity of the Spanish cedar. And he also wants to know, which way is the right way, obviously, and do we use beads or one of the Oasis units to season our humidors? So, what do you think, Jerry?
Well, I use the shot glass method, where you fill the shot glass up with distilled water and let it sit in the humidor. Closed humidor for, I think, I do mine for 2 weeks. I know that might seem kind of long. It really sucks when, if you're just starting out and you order a humidor and your cigars at the same point, and you plan on storing those cigars in that humidor, that seasoning period, that it's going to take a while. I don't think you need to do it for 2 weeks. I think 48 hours might be a good amount of time. But I know a lot of us are impatient and want to just stick it in there, but you definitely got to season your humidor one way or the other. So I always use the shot glass method. In the beginning, my first couple of humidors, I used the wipe down method, where you put distilled water on a paper towel or something, you wipe down the inside of the humidor. And I got to tell you, I had bad results on that, and ended up warping some of the wood in some of those early humidors and ruining some of my friends' humidors as well, who I gave that same advice to. Just wipe it down, it won't do anything. So, but as for my personal humidor, if you've probably seen some of my videos on how to winterize your humidor. I'm using 70% beads right now, and that seems to be doing a pretty good job of holding the humidity. So, what about you, Walt? What do you think?
Well, I take the method that very few people go with, and that is wiping it down. I'm sure you've known this, that I went to school for drafting, and I recently changed jobs. Prior to that, I had 12 years experience working as a cabinet maker and a furniture maker. And I think that experience plays off of why I wipe the wood down. And that being that if you've ever dented a piece of wood in a wood shop, to get that dent out, you obviously just don't keep sanding and create a big divot. You swell the wood, and you do that with a hot iron and a paper towel, a wet paper towel. You take the wet paper towel, put it over top of the dent, put the hot iron on top, and you force the steam down into the wood. In all the years that I've done this, I've never had a problem with the wood, going crazy on me as soon as the iron touched the wet paper towel. So that's why I'm not concerned when I wipe down the humidor. Now, I don't take a soaking wet rag and wipe down the humidor. I'm dampening a cloth and wiping it down, just enough to get a little bit of surface water on the wood. And it's important to remember, if you have like a desktop humidor where it's solid Spanish cedar, there is no Spanish cedar lining. What I mean by that is, the holes, the sides of the humidor, the top, everything is one piece of Spanish cedar, and you've got a finish on the outside like lacquer, polyurethane, shellac, whatever it might be. Your humidor is already imbalanced. The outside of the wood isn't absorbing moisture, and the inside is. So now you're prone to warpage, and I wouldn't say go wipe down a humidor like that. But if you have one that's, say, cherry on the outside, and you've got a nice Spanish cedar lining, like a 3/8 lining inside, I don't think you have much to worry about wiping it down. Just keep in mind that you want to use a very damp cloth. You don't want to saturate the wood, because that will force it to warp. And I don't have very many desktop humidors. I have 3, but they're only 30 counts. I never really got into buying a nice, beautiful humidor. I've ramped right up from the desktop units to coolers, and in the coolers I'm using 70% beads, and I've got a third cooler all ready to set up. I'm going to do a video on that, and I'm planning on using 65% beads. I haven't had the opportunity to have the extra funds to pull away from my cigars to buy a Cigar Oasis unit, but I hear they work very well.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I haven't really wanted to take the plunge into spending that kind of money. I think they run like $100 for the initial unit, but I've heard good things about them. Maybe once we get that walk-in humidor in our own houses, and we'll have to go that route.
That is my long-term goal.
All right. So let's move on to our next question. And our next question comes from Jason. And this is kind of a special question, because we're going to actually have the doc from StogieFresh.com. He's going to go ahead and read the question and answer it, and then Walt and I will add to the doc's answer. So take it away, Doc.
Oh, this is the doc from StogieFresh.com, and I've got a question on very old cigars. Here's a question. It says, I was lucky enough to come into a small inheritance of cigars from my grandfather, who passed away a few months ago. My dad tells me that the cigars were the pride of my grandfather's life, as he collected cigars from around the world. Do you know of any resource available that can help me identify what I have? I'd be interested in finding out the history of some of these cigars. Also, is there anything special I need to preserve these cigars, some of which are 50-plus years old? Are they still good to smoke? Well, you were indeed lucky to inherit something of such value to your grandfather, and even though he's gone, perhaps you can share some of his passion for cigars. Unfortunately, I don't know of any single resource that will help you find out the information about the specifics of your grandfather's cigars. I mean, they are over 50 years of age, which puts them back before 1960. Well, having said that, I just happen to have a friend who may be America's foremost authority on cigar history pre-1960. His name is Tony Hyman, and he's been collecting cigar boxes and amassing a huge historical archive of cigar information for over 50 years. He's had in his possession at one time or another over 15,000 cigar boxes dating back to just after the Civil War. Yeah, suffice it to say he can probably help you. I wish I could tell you that Tony has a website with all this wealth of information on it, but as of yet, we're still working on it. It's a work in progress. So, here's what you should do. First off, take photographs of your grandfather's entire collection. Use a good digital camera, make sure you have plenty of good lighting. You want to have clear and detailed photos of the inside and outside of the cigar boxes. I'm assuming that the cigars are still in their original boxes. If you had any special humidors, make sure to get photos of them too. This will make it much easier for trying to get any information from people like Tony. They need to see the boxes, and then they can more easily help you. After you've done that, I want you to send me an email so I can introduce you to Tony. I really don't feel comfortable just giving out his contact information over the internet, but I can hook you two up. Send the email to doc@stogiefresh.com. Now to the second part of your question. Is there anything special you need to do to preserve these cigars, and are they still good to smoke? It's been well noted that many cigars can age successfully and be excellent smokes over the course of many, many years. Sadly, however, if they've not been properly stored and humidified, they're almost undoubtedly unsmokable. I say almost undoubtedly because, let's face it, I've never smoked a cigar that was over 50 years old, whether or not it was properly humidified and stored. Having said that, you may want to pose that question to Tony. I've seen many of his boxes that still have the smokes in them. I don't think he has any plans on smoking them, however. I can say that tobacco is an organic material that is biodegradable. In other words, it can spoil and simply go bad. The oleoresins that are in the tobacco leaves and that are responsible for the burn qualities and flavors of a cigar can and do dry out and evaporate. When that happens, basically what you have left is a dried lump of vegetable matter. And who wants to stick that in their face and smoke it? If the cigars have been stored and aged and humidified properly, then you just keep doing the same. And if you need more information on how to store and age cigars, the StogieFresh.com main pages are devoted to the art and science of storing and aging cigars. Plenty of information there. If you already know what you're doing, you may want to fire up a couple and see what you got. And if you're in doubt, you may have to send a couple to me. For scientific purposes, of course. I think you have a great opportunity to share your grandfather's love of the leaf and also learn a lot about cigars and cigar history in the process. I hope you look forward to that journey, and I wish you the best of luck.
All right. Well, we got to thank the doc there for taking the time out of his, I know he's got a pretty busy schedule there. So we got to thank the doc for taking the time to answer that question. And I got to say, it's a better answer than I could ever come up with, I'll tell you that. So,
Definitely.
But what do you think, Walt? You got anything to add to it, or?
Well, I think the doc is a very good authority on aging cigars, and whatever he says is perfectly fine with me. I look forward to getting advice from Doc. He's a real nice guy, and if you're not familiar with the Stogie Fresh 5, you should definitely check that out. He does a podcast in 5 series segments, I guess you call that. And the latest one was the Camacho Corojo Diademas, and an interview with Christian Eiroa in Honduras, poolside at Christian Eiroa's hacienda, and that was an awesome interview. You should definitely head over there and check that out.
Wow. Poolside, huh? Wow. I feel kind of bad because episode 2, when we were talking about the podcast we both listened to, I don't think either one of us said Stogie Fresh 5, and I felt kind of bad. But luckily the doc didn't hold it against us, and he went ahead and gave us a great answer to the question that we needed. Because tell you what, when that question came in, I was like, man, how am I supposed to answer? How are we supposed to answer that? And then luckily, I thought if anybody knew the answer, it would be the doc. So thank you again to the doc for coming through for us again. So speaking of podcasts again. Our next question comes from Chip, and Chip sent in a contact form. Use our Spiffy contact form, upper right-hand corner above our logo. And he says, in episode 2, you guys talked about the podcast you both listened to. My question is expanding on that. He wants to know what blogs or websites, cigar-related or not, do the Stogie Review guys read? So what cigar-related websites are you reading, forums, or even non-cigar-related sites? What is a typical web surfing day include for the Walt?
Well, I don't have a whole lot of time to sit in front of the computer, although I do it all day long in front of a CAD machine, but I really can't get away from that too much. But when I do, when I get my 10-minute coffee break and my lunch break, I have a pretty strict regimen, and that is, first I check our site, first off, of course. Next, I'm moving on to Club Stogie to see what's going on there. From there, I'm moving on to Amagazi. I mentioned that in my video, my last video actually, and it's got a whole broad range of things, not just cigars. It's really been a great forum, and the members are starting to climb. It's getting to be a real nice place. After that, I'm checking out Cigarzilla.net. Real nice site, forum, built around finding that perfect deal. And the guys over there, Landshark and Tackhammer, they've been real nice guys. And they also have a Thursday night chat that's actually pretty cool. If I could remember to join on Thursday nights, I'd participate much more. Unfortunately, I always remember on Friday night.
Wow, I guess we visit a lot of the same sites, and we both can never remember the days of the week because I always forget about the Thursday night chat too and remember on Friday. But my routine is kind of similar to Walt's. When I wake up in the morning, I check our site, and I check our site all throughout the day because I'm in front of a computer all day long. So I check our site off, and then I still check out Club Stogie occasionally. I'm starting to get into visiting Cigarzilla a lot, which, by the way, if you watched my last review on the Party Glass Black, you'll know that they're having a little monthly giveaway of a 5-pack of cigars from their sponsor over at TNT Cigars out of they're out of Phoenix, I think, Arizona. So they're doing a monthly giveaway, that monthly 5-pack giveaway there. So I check out Cigarzilla. I'm also spending some time now over at StogieTime.com. And another one that somebody wrote in to tell me about was it's not linked on our site, but it's called blowinsmoke.net. There's no G in blowin'. It's just blowinsmoke.net. And that seems like a pretty cool place so far.
Are they affiliated with the podcast?
No affiliation with the Blow and Smoke podcast. Different stuff there, but name similar, different content, I guess. So I checked that out. I also do our friend Tom over at Keeper of the Flames.
I can't believe I forgot him. I checked that.
So you can get to his site by there's a link on our sidebar under Stogie Blogs, or you can just go to cigarfan.wordpress. Is it .net or .com? One of the two. I think cigarfan.wordpress.com, but it might be .net. So
go to them both.
Yeah, try them both. You might get lucky. You never know what you'll find. But Tom does a great job with all his reviews. I mean, he reviews so many cigars that I've just never even heard of. That I'm like, man, and the way he reviews cigars are so entertaining. I think he does one of the best job of reviewing cigars out there.
He does it really well. He does a really good job of leading into the review with a lot of information about the brand history and stuff, and it's a really nice read.
Oh yeah, especially for us because when we do our reviews, we don't really go into details about the brand's history or the actual making of the cigar that much. We just pretty much focus on the flavor profiles and construction, whereas he goes all out with the history of the brand and everything, and that's just such a delight to read. So he's one of the sites I go to a lot. Also, even though I'm not a very political person, I check out our friends over at StogieGuys.com as well, listen to their bits on the politics of cigar smoking, all the anti-smoking laws that are going around. So I do check their site as well.
Another one I forgot. I like their Friday wrap-up, too, when they pull everything together from the week.
Oh yeah, it makes it a lot really easy if you forget to check it out every day. They post every single day, even on weekends, so it's easy to miss something. And
a lot of times I check them out on the weekends, and I really like to read that Friday night article.
Yeah, definitely.
Or not Friday night article, but their Friday wrap up.
Right. I can't remember what it's called now. Friday something. Oh well. When you go to the site, you'll know what we're talking about on a Friday. So. But yeah, that's about it.
I'm sure we're forgetting some.
I know we're definitely forgetting something and someone out there, but hopefully they'll forgive us and we'll catch them up next time. All right, moving along. What's next on the list of questions out there, Walt?
Okay, trying to catch up. Lost my place on the page here. All right, question comes from Ryan through the AOL Instant Messenger service. And he says that he's a longtime reader, loves the site. We really appreciate that. He wants to know if there's any particular cigar we've reviewed so far that really stands out, and is there anything that we're looking forward to trying, and do we have any big plans for our 1-year anniversary?
Wow.
It was a long email. I had to paraphrase that a little bit. My apologies.
All right. Well, any particular cigar that stands out that we reviewed. What have we been doing this now for almost a year?
Yeah, next month will be a year.
Wow.
Believe it or not, it seems like time flies.
I know, man. So in the past year, a cigar that stands out. Well, I guess when somebody asks me, a couple of my favorite cigars, the two that come to mind are the Avo 80th anniversary, a fantastic cigar. So that one really stands out. That was a pleasure to smoke. The other one would have to be the Camacho El Legend Ario.
It's funny you said those two because they were the two that I had on the list, actually.
What can we do? What can we say? Great minds think alike, right?
Yeah,
Walt?
there's a very, very special reason why we hold those cigars in such high regard.
That's right. And we'll get to that. That's right. We'll get to that a little later on in the show. But those two cigars really stand out for me. They both are fantastic cigars to smoke. Wonderful flavor profiles to smoke. But then they also have sentimental reasons as well. So those two cigars for me stand out a lot. As far as cigars that I'm looking forward to try, I don't know. Does all of them count? I don't know. Every week, everyone, we get all kinds of messages asking, "Have you tried this? Have you tried this?" And I guess the one at the top of my list right now are the CAO Italias. I've had a lot of our good friends in Canada, up north in Canada, ringing in saying, you got to review the CAO Italia, and I've been putting it off now for, I guess, 2 months. So maybe I should get to doing that. But so as far as big plans, I have no idea. We just take this day by day, so we'll just have to wait and see what pops in our heads coming up our 1-year anniversary. So what do you think, Walt?
Well, as for the 1-year anniversary, it's kind of tough because, even though we only post 3 to 4 days a week on the site, it's just a whole lot of work, and you really don't get a chance to look too far ahead into the future. And this 1-year anniversary really creeped up on us. I mean, I can't believe it's going to be next month, and I think we'll have to come up with something to do there. But as of right now, just no plans. Sad to say, but no plans. As far as a cigar I'm looking to try, there's one that's been on my list for quite a while now, and that's the Camacho Liberty series. And I haven't had any luck trying to find one. The only time I did find one, the price was like $18 a stick, and it was from a B&M that I'm not real crazy about, so I didn't want to give him quite that much business on one cigar. And I lucked, I didn't have any luck finding it anywhere else, and then when I went back as a last resort, he didn't have any left. So I'm keeping an eye out. I think I remember seeing them on Cigar International's website. I think I can buy singles. So maybe I'll do that over the course of the next few weeks.
Gotcha. Do you know if that Camacho Liberty, is that a yearly release, or was it a one-time thing?
No, it's a yearly release. There's 2005 and 2006, and during that interview I talked to you about with the doc and Christian Aroa, he mentioned something about there may not be a 2007 release. It may come out in 2008. So I guess we'll have to sit back and wait and see what happens there.
Wow. Did he say why there won't be a 2007, or did he just speculate?
Well, it seems like he's focusing on 2 other brands, and I can't remember what those 2 other brands were, but they sounded good. I'll have to listen to Doc's interview once again and jot those 2 cigars down and bring them up next time.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's see. What else we got here in the bag of questions? All right, how about this one from Lance? And Lance wrote into us via Skype. And Lance writes, "Hey guys, great reviews. I love your videos. I think you guys are heading in the right direction." And he has 2 questions. He wants to know, is there any way he get our videos on his video iPod? I guess that'd be a question for me to answer. Yeah,
you're the resident techie.
But then his main question has to do with our rating sheet, Walt. He says he went back to read some of our earlier reviews, and he noticed that we used to use a rating sheet. And he wanted to know what happened with that, and do we have any plans to bring it back, and why did we stop doing it? So, Walt, you can take that part of the question.
Well, that originated, well before we started the site. I found that rating sheet, or one similar to it, in I think it was the Complete Idiot's Guide to Cigars. Now, it was a book I bought when I first started smoking cigars, and I thought the rating sheet was pretty interesting. So I pulled it into Excel, made some changes, kind of made it our own, and then we started using that. as a barometer for how cigars were performing, because it covered, the whole spectrum of the smoking experience, not just flavors, how it was burning, the resting smoke, the ash, the construction, and then it even had a place for price, so you could keep an eye on that. And we were using it for a while, and then it sort of phased out. I'm not quite sure why, but we eventually moved away from it, and we just haven't looked back. So, I think maybe if we get enough interest and people want to see it again, I'm sure we could do something to work it back into the fold. But as of right now, no, we haven't touched that in quite a while.
Yeah, I think I was I probably started the trend of not using it. I started to get too distracted while I was smoking a cigar, trying to smoke the cigar and remember to either go back and fill out the form where I got distracted, smoking, trying to review the cigar while also trying to rate it as well. So I kind of got lazy and just said, you know what, I'm not. I'll just forego it for a few episodes, and then just didn't look back. I think it's a great sheet you came up with, and I think maybe sometime in the future we'll start coming back. But I think it's gonna be kind of hard, because we've done. I'm gonna, just as a round number here, I'm gonna say at least 100 reviews before that. Since we stopped using it, and I don't know if we can compare.
Yeah, I think it would be tough to just drop it right back into the mix.
Right, yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're not saying we're never going to use it again, but it's not in our immediate plans to use. I don't know. All right, Walt, what do we got next?
Well, you still got to answer that iPod question.
Oh! See, look at Walt. Yeah, hardest working member. Keep me on my toes.
I wasn't even looking at the sheet when I remembered.
Wow. All right, so is there a way that he can get our videos on his video iPod? Right now, no. We've batted back and forth for a while now about making our video reviews available on iTunes to download, and that would be the perfect way for you to do it if we were on the iTunes podcast directory. There is a way with Blip TV that who we use to embed our videos on our site to get us listed on iTunes. But that's been a small idea that we've batted around loosely for a while. But if more people want it, we'll meet the demands of the people, and we'll get it done. If a lot more people want to do it, want to watch our reviews in that way. All right. What do we have next? Walt? Oh, I know what we have next.
Yeah.
Look at the question sheet. I'll go ahead and read this, Walt, because this might be all you. All right, this comes from... All right, when I first got this on the contact form, it's kind of funny. I thought the guy's name was Lewis King, But then I read the question, and then I dissected the name, and it actually comes from Lou is King. So, but... He writes, in episode 2, Walt touched on a bit of the Rocky Patel versus Lou Rothman feud. And I wanted to know if you think Lou is just jealous of Rocky Patel. Rocky has had the hot hand as of late. Or he points to a thread on another cigar forum called Cigar Utopia, where they talked about it. And he wants to know if the thread on Cigar Utopia that summed the feud up as one bullshitter calling another bullshitter a bullshitter better sums up the feud. And he gives us the link to the feud. So what do you think, Brian? Jesus, Brian, name's on the thing. I told you if I saw it, I was going to read it. Brian's not here. Anyways, what do you think, Walt?
Well, I didn't have the link when I read the article. I did a search on Cigar Utopia, so I think I found the thread he's talking about. And, that gives me a broader idea of what's going on, because all I was reading was the article in Cigar Magazine, and I think there was a couple of people that touched on it at Club Stogie a little bit. And I think that really sums it up. It's I don't think that Lou Rothman, I guess he could be jealous of Rocky Patel, but I guess the way I look at it is, when you have two people that are potentially bullshitting, I guess you'd look at it as look at it that way. Someone's got to start the whole thing, and everything I've read, it says it's coming out as Lou starting this feud, and I really haven't read anything from Rocky Patel. I haven't looked into it all that much, so I don't know if there is anything published of Rocky Patel fighting back or anything. But I think that whole one bullshitter calling the other bullshitter a bullshitter is the perfect way to look at it. And I think that the last stand, and like I said before, kind of a slap in the face, was Lou Rothman, rolling out just to kind of mock Rocky Patel on his vintage series.
You know what? When you said that last episode, I thought you were just joking. But sure enough, earlier this week, I was at JR Cigars, and right center in the middle of their window, facing the street, was a whole stack of Flor de la Bologna cigar bundles. And I just started laughing on the street, because I thought you were just joking, but you're for real. Have you tried any of them?
No, I haven't, but I did read something that people are saying they look a lot like the Villazon Factory Seconds, the Consuegas. People are under the impression that they're actually just a Consuega with Flor de Bologna band, and for the price that JR wants for them, I probably wouldn't even bother looking into them. I think he wants over $40 a bundle, and that's outrageous if you can get a Consuega for just over $20.
It's actually more than that. I was looking at the Bellicoso-shaped ones, and they were up there like $60, $70 for a bundle. And you're right, on the packaging it does say from that factory,
The Villazon.
Villazon factory. And so I don't know. It just seemed, you're right, it does seem like a lot of money. And on the packaging it says runoffs or something like that. Cigars.
Probably overruns.
Overruns, there you go. That's the word. There you go, runoffs. Ugh. Overruns. And so I don't know. I mean, do you really want to spend $70 on overruns? I don't know. When you could, if they could be the same overruns that are found in the Consuega line.
Yes, and do you really want to fuel the fire by actually buying them? I mean, you won't see me buying them.
Gotcha. Well, so that sums it up. Looks like Cigar Utopia had it right. Where they summed it up as one bullshitter calling another bullshitter a bullshitter. So, all right.
They're just one RG rating, but that's okay.
Well, if you've seen some of my videos, none of them are G-rated.
I'm still waiting for you to upload that clip where you put that stinky ashtray on your head. But
I'll have to incorporate that in another review. Hopefully, I'll empty it before I do it. But
yeah, it would definitely help.
Yeah. All right, Walt. What do we got next? Oh shit! You know what, Walt? We got to go back. We got to back up a little bit here because what I forgot to do. I meant to do this a couple of questions ago.
Oh man, I thought you were going to say you forgot to turn the recorder on.
No, I remember to turn it on this time. Me and Bob have that in common where we kind of forget to turn it on. But, back in that question to Chip about, we talked about, we both said about Cigarzilla and about how they have a contest going on with their 5-pack a month giveaway from TNTcigars.com. Well, we here at the Stogie Review have a contest as well. And I was lucky enough, this comes courtesy of our friends at Atlantic Cigars. Is it AtlanticCigars.com? I think it's AtlanticCigars.com.
Yeah, I think they're actually an affiliate of TNT Cigars.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, because when I ordered I ordered a bundle of the Padron Anniversary Series alternatives from TNT Cigars, and it came with Atlantic Cigars name stamped on it. So.
Oh, well, okay. Well, it comes from TNT Cigars as well, then. But we're going to have a contest. Let me explain what you got to do. You got to head over to thestogiereview.com, our website, use our spiffy little contact form, and in the contact form, you fill out all the contact information. In the body of the contact form, be sure to include your mailing address as well. But what we need is questions from you. So, when you're filling out the form to enter the contest, be sure to include a cigar-related question that we could use and answer here on a future episode of Your Questions, My Answers. And the winner, once we get all the entries in, the winner will be announced on episode 101 of the Dog Watch Social Club. We'll record it. We got an upcoming recording with them. I think it's episode 101, right? Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, unless they change numbering on us. It's episode 101. But the winner will be announced on that episode of the Dog Watch Social Club. And the winner will receive a box of 31 Tattoo A Series P P1. That's the Corona Gorda size. And so be sure to head over to our site, use the contact form, and send us a cigar-related question along with your mailing address, and you'll be entered to win. And listen into episode 101 of the Dog Watch Social Club, and we'll announce the winner then. All right. Sorry about that, Walt. We were supposed to do that earlier, and I totally forgot.
All right, and this is from Kevin through the AOL Instant Messenger service. And I'm going to read it all out here. It's not real long. Let's see if I can do this. It says, silly question here. You need at least one silly question per show, right? With the success of the show Heroes, what would your superhero power be, and what would your name be, keeping the name cigar related? Keep up the awesome job. So what do you think, Jerry?
What would your superhero name and power be?
Well, I think I know who this person is because I play a game called City of Heroes, where it's a online multiplayer game where you run around as a superhero or a supervillain. And I think this is the guy. I'm not sure, but this might be the guy who always talks cigars with me while I'm playing the game. So I'm not sure, but in the game I play a superhero called the Butane Flame. That'd be my cigar superhero name. And in the game, he does a standard fireball thing, throwing fireballs at everybody. So I guess I would have to use my character in City of Heroes as my actual superhero name and be the resilient Butane Flame. So, what about you, Walt? Did you come up with anything?
Actually, I didn't, but I didn't come up with a fancy name or anything. But for me, I'm constantly forgetting my cutter and I'm constantly going out and forgetting my cutters, and it's a huge hassle. So I think if I had any superpowers, it'd be like Mr. Gadget, where I can just kind of flip open my finger and I'd have a cigar punch in one finger, and flip open the thumb on my other hand and have a polio cutter there, and maybe add in a pinky flame or something, just to make things more convenient, because I'm constantly going out and forgetting things and I can't stand it.
That's awesome. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. All right. Oh, man. All right, so let's talk about something serious here. Earlier, we talked about, both Walt and I said how much we loved the Camacho El Legendario and the Avo 80th. And we talked about how we would like the flavor of the cigar. It's a great cigar, but we also touched on a bit about how that cigar had sentimental values to us as well. And for those of you that listen to the Dog Watch Social Club, you know that they're coming up on their 100th episode. And we're going to actually record the show before that, so we wanted to send a... they're going to record the show after this. Yeah. All right. So they're going to record the 100th show after this, but before we do our next episode. So we wanted to take a few minutes to say a few words to Bob and Dale over at the Dog Watch. Back in, I think it was June or July, I think it was June, Bob and Dale had invited us onto the show, and it was great. Walt and I were felt extra special, and we were extra nervous because it was the first time that anyone had sat through a whole show with them, and it was just a great experience. And that's when we smoked the Camacho El Legendario, and that was just such a good time. And ever since then, every time after that, including the Avo 80th, has been just such a wonderful time spending with Bob and Dale. And I just wanted to say that the success of the StoGieReview.com couldn't have happened without Bob and Dale and the dog and their amazing support of our site. Whenever they get an opportunity to plug us, they do, and we appreciate that so much. And I know I feel comfortable. I know I can speak for everyone at the Stogie Review, but I feel pretty much comfortable speaking for the cigar community in general and saying that the work you guys are doing to promote cigar smoking is awesome. You guys are well respected in the cigar community, and there's nothing any of us can do to thank you for everything that you guys have done for the cigar community at large. So happy 100th episodes, and I hope for at least, let's see, my baby's due in the end of July, so I hope for at least another 18 years worth of shows to keep me from pulling out my hair while I'm raising this kid. So here's to 100 and many, many. Wait a minute, I don't even have hair, Walt.
Yeah, I was just thinking
You know what I mean. So congratulations on 100 shows. And thank you for supporting us as much as you have. There's nothing that we can do to repay you guys for your generosity. So we are in your debt. Walt, what about you? You got anything to say to Bob and Dale?
I think that was absolutely perfect. I appreciate what they've done for us so much, and they've become really good friends. You know, Bob, real nice guy, great personality, and then you got Dale, AKA the Vitola virtuoso, as Bob calls him, who is a real friendly guy. Again, real nice, pleasure to talk to, and we share a lot of the same taste in cigars, so it's really nice to sit down and just kind of shoot the shit with Dale. It's always just a great time being on the show, and really, I can't express how much we appreciate all the help we've gotten from them.
Definitely. You remember the first time before we went on the show how nervous we were? We're like, what are we going to do? Why do they want to talk to us? You know? And we were nervous for like 2 weeks leading up to it, but they made us feel right at home, and they're just a great bunch. You can't say enough. There aren't enough good things to say about them. You know, you just...
Yeah, definitely.
But, all right, well, I think that's going to do it for us on episode 3.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's all we got. We've had a good time once again, and I think we filled up everyone's afternoon with this nice long Q&A segment. But it was a lot of fun, like usual. And just to wrap things up, like I said last week, we really appreciate everyone watching, all the support we've gotten from the cigar community. Everyone's been really great, and really look forward to more questions and doing this some more in the future. Maybe we'll even, who knows? Maybe later on down the line we'll do some more of these and we'll get them out more regularly. But for now, I really look forward to doing the shows every 2 weeks. It's been a blast.
All right, well, until next time, buddy. Long ashes, my friend.
Oui, parler français. Voy a trabajar. Oui, parler français. Hay que cosechar. Oui, parler français. Para alimentar. Oui, parler français. Oui, parler français. Oui, parler français. Dis-moi là, salon, oui, monsieur. Bonsoir, monsieur.